chapter 6, verse 1. Praise be to God, who has created the heavens and the earth, and brought into being darkness and light. Yet those who deny the truth set up equals to their Lord. Verse 2. It is He who has created you out of clay, and then has decreed a term for you, a term known only to Him. Yet you are still in doubt. Verse 3. He is God both in the heavens and on earth. He has knowledge of all that you hide and all that you reveal. He knows what you do. Verse 4. Yet every time a sign comes to them from their Lord, they turn away from it. Verse 5. They have rejected truth whenever it came to them, yet more news will reach them concerning what they have been making a mockery of. Verse 6. Have they not seen how many generations we destroyed before them? We established them on the earth more firmly than you, and we sent the clouds over them, pouring down abundant rain, and made the rivers flow at their feet. Yet we destroyed them for their sins, and raised up other generations after them. I described powers of universal God here. Verse 7. But even if we had sent down to you a book written on parchment, and they had touched it with their own hands, those who deny the truth would still have said, "This is mere magic." Verse 8. They ask, why has an angel not been sent down to him? If we did send down an angel, the matter would be settled, and they would not have been granted any respite. Verse 9. Indeed, if we had sent an angel as messenger, we would have made him in the form of a man, as well, and would have thus added to their confusion. Verse 10. Messengers have been mocked before you, but those who scoffed were overtaken by the very thing they scoffed at. I condemn the unrealistic demand of Jews for angels to believe me. Even if universal God sends down an angel, how are they going to recognize him? Angels may appear in any form, including humans. Hence there is no point in waiting for angels instead of accepting my preaching. Verse 11. Say, travel about the land and see what was the end of the deniers. Verse 12. Say, to whom belongs all that is in the heavens and earth? Say, to God. He has taken it upon himself to be merciful. That he will gather you on the day of resurrection is beyond all doubt. Those who have forfeited their souls will never have faith. Verse 13. To him belongs all that dwells in the night and the day. He is the all-hearing and the all-knowing. Verse 14. Say, shall I take as my protector someone other than God, creator of the heavens and the earth, who feeds all and is fed by none? Say, I have been commanded to be the first of those who submit. Do not be one of the polytheists. I condemn idols worshipping. Jaggi Vasudev, founder, Isha Foundation, has written the following justification regarding idol worship in his blog. India is one place where they went into elaborate systems of idol making. This has been misunderstood by other cultures as worshipping some doll as a god. That is not the case. People here are very much aware that it is we who create the shapes and forms. If you look at it from the standpoint of modern science, we know today that everything is the same energy, but everything is not the same in the world. This energy can be like an animal, or this energy can function like the divine. When I say the divine, I am not talking about you as a being. I am talking about the body itself. The physical body itself can be transformed into a divine entity if we just reorganize our systems in a particular way. For example, between the full moon day and the new moon day, each of the 14 nights are so different. Today, we live with so much electric light, so you don't know the difference. Suppose you lived on a farm or in a forest where there was no electricity, then every night would be very different, because the moon comes up at different times, and it has different shapes and forms. But it is the same moon. It is not a different entity. The same moon has different impacts at different times. Just a little rearrangement, see what a difference it has made. Similarly, if you rearrange the energy system in the body, this body, which is just a mass of flesh right now, can become a divine entity. The whole system of yoga is oriented towards this. Gradually, if you give it sufficient attention in practice, you will see that this body is no longer just craving for self-preservation and procreation. It has become something else altogether. It is no longer just a physical entity. Though it is physical, though it is biology, it need not be limited to the physical. It can function and operate in a completely different dimension. Its very presence can become different. It is from this context that many yogis, who made their bodies in a certain way, allowed people to worship their bodies. They themselves would not be there in the body, but they let people worship their body because it has become like a divine entity. It is a reorganized energy, completely engineered. The Hindu way of life. One fundamental thing that I would like to clear up about the Hindu way of life is, with the Hindu, there is no assume, because it is a geographical and cultural identity. Anyone born in the land of Indus is a Hindu. There is no particular belief system, god, or ideology which you can call as the Hindu way of life. Whatever you do in this culture is Hindu. You can worship a man god and be a Hindu. You can worship a woman god and be a Hindu. You can worship a cow and be a Hindu. You can worship a tree and be a Hindu. Or you don't worship anything and you can be a Hindu. Hindu is a cultural identity, not a religious identity. In the Hindu way of life, the only important thing in human life is his liberation. Mukti is the only goal. The science of idol making. There is a whole science of idol making where a certain form is created with a particular material and energized in a certain way. Different idols are made in different ways where they relocate or rearrange the chakras in certain places to make them into completely different possibilities. Idol making is that science through which you manifest the energy in a particular way so that your quality of life can be enhanced. Temples in India were built as a very deep science. They were not created for worship. When I say temple, I am referring to the ancient temples. Most modern temples are built just the way you build shopping complexes. Temple building is a very deep science. Of the basic aspects of the temple, the size and shape of the idol, the mudra that the idol holds, the parikrama, the garbhagriha, and the mantras used to consecrate the idol are properly matched, a powerful energy system is created. In Indian tradition, no one told you that if you go to a temple, you must worship and give money and ask for something. This is something that people have started now. Traditionally, they told you, if you go to the temple, you must sit for a while and come. But today you just touch your bottom to the floor and run away. This is not the way. You are required to sit there because there is a field of energy that has been created. In the morning, before you go out into the world, the first thing you do is you go sit in the temple for a while. This is a way of recharging yourself with very positive vibrations of life so that you go into the world with a different perspective. The temple was not created as a place of God or a place of prayer. No one was ever allowed to lead a prayer. It was created as a place of energy, where everyone could go and make use of it. Website address http://blog/yoga-meditation/demystifying-yoga/hindu-idols God's worship/ Verse 15. Say, I will never disobey my Lord, for I fear the punishment of a dreadful day. Verse 16. Anyone from whom punishment is averted on that day has been shown great mercy by God. That is a supreme achievement. Verse 17. If God should let any harm touch you, no one could remove it except Thee, while if He should let some good touch you, know that He has the power to do all that Thee wills. Verse 18. He reigns supreme over His servants, and He is the all-wise, the all-aware. Verse 19. Ask them, what carries the most weight, as a witness? Tell them it is God. He is a witness between you and me. Say, this Koran has been revealed to me so that through it I may warn you, and whoever it reaches. Do you really bear witness that there are other deities beside God? Say, I do not bear witness to this. Say, He is only one God, and I disown whatever you associate with Him. Verse 20. Those to whom we have given the scriptures know this, as they know their own sons. But those who have ruined their souls will not believe. Verse 21. Who does greater wrong than he who invents a lie against God, and denies His signs? Assuredly, the wrongdoers will not succeed. Verse 22. On the day when we gather them all together, we will say to those who associated others with us, where are those partners that you claimed? Verse 23. Then they will have no excuse but to say, by God our Lord, we have never been polytheists. Verse 24. See how they lied to themselves, and how those the deities they invented have deserted them. I assure punishment for idol worshippers and non-believers in universal God, universal religion and messengers. Verse 25. Among them are some who listen to you, but we have placed veils over their hearts and deafness in their ears which prevent them from understanding what you say. Even if they saw all the signs, they would still not believe in them. When those who deny the truth come to dispute with you, they will say, "This is nothing but ancient fables." Verse 26. And they bar others from believing and themselves keep away. But they ruin no one but themselves, though they fail to realize this. Verse 27. If you could only see when they are set before the fire. They will say, "If only we could be sent back. Then we would not deny the signs of our Lord, and we would be of the believers." Verse 28. The truth they used to hide will become all too clear to them. But if they were sent back, they would return to what they had been forbidden. For they are indeed liars. I strongly condemn hypocrites. Verse 29. They say, "There is nothing beyond our life in this world. We shall not be raised up again from the dead." Verse 30. If you could only see when they are made to stand before their Lord. He will ask them, "Is the second life not the truth?" They will say, "Yes, by our Lord." He will say, "Then, taste the punishment that comes from your having refused to acknowledge the truth." Verse 31. Those indeed are the losers who deny the meeting with God. When the hour comes on them suddenly, they cry, "Alas, for us, that we neglected it." They shall bear their burdens on their backs. Evil are the burdens they shall bear. Verse 32. The life of this world is but a sport and a pastime. Surely the home of the hereafter is best for those who fear God. Will you not understand? Verse 33. We know that what they said grieves you. It is not you that the wrongdoers are rejecting, rather it is the signs of God that they reject. I condemn people who don't believe anything beyond this life. Verse 34. Other messengers have been denied before you, and they bore their rejection and persecution steadfastly, until our help came to them. There is no one who can change the words of God. You have already received some account of those messengers. Verse 35. If you find their rejection hard to bear, then seek a tunnel into the ground, or a ladder into the sky, if you can, and bring them a sign. Had God so willed, He would indeed have given them all His guidance. So do not be among the ignorant. Verse 36. Only they who listen can respond to a call, and, as for the dead, God will raise them up, and then they will all return to Him. Verse 37. They ask, "Why has no sign been sent down to him from his Lord?" Say, God alone has the power to send down a sign. But most of them do not understand. Verse 38. There is not an animal that moves about on the earth, nor a bird that flies on its two wings, but are creatures like you. We have left out nothing in the book. They shall all be gathered before their Lord. Verse 39. Those who reject our signs are deaf and dumb, groping along in darkness. God lets anyone He wishes go astray, and sets whoever He will on a straight path. Advice to myself to bear the rejection from Jews patiently, and wait for help to come from universal God. Verse 40. Say, tell me, if the punishment of God came upon you or the hour overtook you, would you call upon any other than God, if you are truthful? Verse 41. Indeed, it is on Him that you would call, and He could remove that affliction which made you call on Him, if He will, and then you would forget the false deities which you associate with Him. Verse 42. We sent messengers before you, prophet, to many communities, and afflicted their people with suffering and hardship, so that they might humble themselves. Verse 43. When the affliction decreed by us befell them, they did not humble themselves, but rather their hearts hardened, for Satan had made all their doings seem fair to them. Verse 44. When they had forgotten our admonition, we granted them all that they desired, but just as they were rejoicing in what they were given, we seized them suddenly, and they were plunged into despair. Verse 45. The wrongdoers were thus annihilated. All praise be to God, the Lord of the worlds. Verse 46. Say, if God should take away your hearing, and your sight, and seal your hearts, who is the deity who could restore it to you save God? See how we explain the signs to them in diverse ways, yet they turn away. Verse 47. Ask them, tell me, if the punishment of God came upon you suddenly or predictably, would any but the wrongdoers be destroyed? Verse 48. We send the messengers only to give good news and to warn, so those who believe and reform themselves need have no fear, nor will they grieve. Verse 49. Chastisement will befall those who reject our signs because of their disobedience. Verse 50. Say, I do not say to you that I possess the treasures of God, nor do I know the unseen, nor do I say to you that I am an angel. I follow only that which is revealed to me. Say, are the blind and the seeing alike? Can you not then think? Verse 51. Warn by it those who fear to be gathered before their Lord, when they have no guardian or intercessor besides God, so that they may become God-fearing. Verse 52. Do not send away those who call upon their Lord in the morning and in the evening, seeking only His grace. You are not by any means accountable for them, nor are they accountable for you. If you turn them away, you yourself will become one of the unjust. Verse 53. In this way we try some of them by means of others, so that they may ask, are these lowly ones, whom God has singled out for His favors, from among us? Does God not know best who are the grateful ones? Verse 54. When those who believe in our revelations come to you, say, peace be upon you. Your Lord has taken it upon Himself to be merciful, so that if anyone among you does evil in ignorance and repents thereafter, and makes amends, then He is most forgiving and ever merciful. Verse 55. Thus we make plain our signs, so that the path of the evildoers might be laid bare. I condemn idol worshippers and non-believers of prophets. Verse 56. Say, I am forbidden to worship those you call upon besides God. Say, I do not follow your whims and desires. If I did, I would go astray and cease to be rightly guided. Verse 57. Say, I stand by the clear evidence from my Lord, yet you deny it. What you seek to hasten is not within my power. Judgment is for God alone. He declares the truth. He is the best of judges. Verse 58. Say, if what you seek to hasten were within my power, the matter would be settled between you and me. God best knows the evildoers. Verse 59. He holds the keys to the unseen, none knows them but He. He has knowledge of all that land and sea contain. No leaf falls without His knowledge, nor is there a single grain in the darkness of the earth, or anything, wet or dry, but is recorded in a clear record. Verse 60. It is He who gathers you in at night, and knows all that you do by day. Then He raises you up during the day so that an appointed term may be completed. Then to Him you shall return, and He will declare to you all that you used to do. Verse 61. He is the absolute master over His servants. He sends forth guardians angels who watch over you until, when death approaches one of you, our angels take his soul, and they never fail in their duty. Verse 62. Then they will all be returned to God, their true Lord. The judgment is His alone. He is the swiftest reckoner. Verse 63. Say, who is it who delivers you from the dark depths of land and sea, when you call out to Him humbly and in secret, saying, if He rescues us from this, we shall most certainly be among the grateful. Verse 64. Say, it is God who delivers you from it and from every other distress, yet you associate partners with Him. Verse 65. Say, He has the power to send punishment on you from above your heads, or from beneath your feet, or to divide you in sects, and make you taste one another's violence. See how we explain our revelations in various ways, so that they may understand. I described powers of universal God here. Verse 66. Your people have rejected the message we have sent through you, though it is the truth. Say, I am not your keeper. Verse 67. Every prophecy has its fixed time to be fulfilled, and soon you will come to know. As per my understanding, prophethood is a time-bound schedule, and decided by universal God. Verse 68. When you see people engaged in finding fault with our revelations, withdraw from them until they turn to some other topic. Should Satan cause you to forget this, take leave of the wrongdoers as soon as you remember. Verse 69. The God-fearing are not in any way held accountable for the wrongdoers. Their only duty is to remind them, so that they may fear God. I suggest my followers to keep away from the people who are more interested in pointing out faults in my preaching. Verse 70. Leave alone those for whom religion is only a sport and pastime, and are deceived by the life of this world, but continue to remind them with the Koran, lest a soul be held in pledge, because of what it has wrought, having no helper or intercessor besides God. Whatever ransom they may offer, it will not be accepted. Such are those that are damned by their own actions. They will have boiling water to drink, and a painful punishment for their denial of truth. Verse 71. Say, instead of God, shall we call upon that which can neither benefit us, nor harm us? Are we to turn upon our heels, after God has guided us, like one who, beguiled by devils, in the land, wanders bewildered, his companions calling him to the right path, saying, Come to us? Say, God's guidance is the only guidance. We are commanded to surrender ourselves to the Lord of the universe. Verse 72. Say our prayers regularly, and to fear God. He it is to whom you will be gathered. Verse 73. It was He who created the heavens and the earth for a true purpose. On the day when He says, Be, it shall be, His word is the truth. All sovereignty shall be His on the day when the trumpet is sounded. The knower of the unseen and the visible, He is the wise, the aware one. I suggest you to stay away from idol worshippers and non-believers in universal God. Religion is not a subject of time pass. Verse 74. Remember when Abraham said to his father, Azar, do you take idols as your gods? I see that you and your people have clearly gone astray. Verse 75. In this way we showed Abraham our kingdom of the heavens and the earth, so that he might have certainty of faith. Verse 76. When night descended on him, he saw a star. He said, This is my Lord. Then when it set, he said, I do not love things that set. Verse 77. When he saw the moon rise and spread its light, he said, This is my Lord. But when it set, he said, If my Lord does not guide me, I will be one of the misguided people. Verse 78. Then, when he saw the sun shining, he said, This is my Lord. This is the greatest of all. Then when it set, he said, My people, I disown all that you worship besides God. Verse 79. I have set my face with single-minded devotion towards Him who has created the heavens and the earth, and I am not one of the polytheists. Verse 80. His people argued with him. He said, Are you arguing with me about God, while He has guided me? I have no fear of any partner you ascribe to Him, unless my Lord should wish otherwise. My Lord encompasses all things in His knowledge, so will you not pay heed? Verse 81. Why should I fear what you associate with Him, while you do not fear to associate with God, that for which He has sent down to you no authority? Tell me, if you know the truth, which side has more right to feel secure? Verse 82. It is those who have faith, and do not mix their faith with wrongdoing, who will be secure, and it is they who are rightly guided. Verse 83. This is the reasoning we gave to Abraham. Against his people we raise and rank anyone we please. Your Lord is wise and aware. Story of Abraham continued from Old Scripture. As done in Indian subcontinent, during the days of Abraham also people used to worship sun, moon, stars and idols. Abraham was against all that since he believed that there is only one universal God. He even had argument with his father, who was an idol worshipper. Verse 84. We gave him Isaac and Jacob, each of whom we guided as we had guided Noah before. Among his descendants were David and Solomon, and Job, Joseph, Moses and Aaron. Thus do we reward the righteous. Verse 85. Zechariah, John, Jesus, and Elijah, every one of them was righteous. Verse 86. Ishmael, Elisha, Jonah, and Lot, we favored each one of them above other people. Verse 87. And also some of their forefathers, their offspring, and their brothers, we chose them, and guided them to a straight path. Verse 88. This is the guidance of God. He gives that guidance to whichever of His servants He pleases. If they had associated other deities with Him, surely all they did would have been of no avail. Verse 89. Those are the ones to whom we gave the Scripture, wisdom, and prophethood. If these people the Meccans reject it, we shall entrust it to a people who will never refuse to acknowledge it. Verse 90. Those the previous prophets were the people whom God guided. Follow their guidance then, and say, I ask no reward for this from you, it is only a reminder for all mankind. After Abraham there were many messengers of universal God, like Isaac, Jacob, Noah, David, Solomon, Job, Joseph, Moses, Aaron, Zechariah, John, Jesus, Elias, Ishmael, Elisha, Jonah, etc. Verse 91. They do not make a just estimate of God when they say, God has not revealed anything to any human being. Say, who revealed the book which Moses brought, a light and guidance for the people, which you made into separate sheets, showing some, but hiding many? You have been taught things that neither you nor your forefathers had known before. Say, God has sent it, then leave them toying away with their speculation. To deny my claim of being the messenger of universal God, Jews defend that God has never revealed anything to humans. They should be mindful that they agree that Torah has been revealed to Moses by God. It clearly shows that they were following dual standards and were hell-bent to reject me. Verse 92. This is a blessed book which we have revealed, confirming what came before it, so that you may warn the mother of cities Mecca, and the people around it. Those who believe in the hereafter do believe in it, and they are ever mindful of their prayers. I suggest people of Mecca and surrounding villages to have faith in me and this book. Verse 93. Who could do greater wrong than someone who invents a lie against God, or who says, it has been revealed to me, while nothing has been revealed to him, or someone who says, I will send down the like of what God has sent down. If you could only see the wrongdoers in the throes of death, when the angels are stretching out their hands, saying, give up your souls. Today you will be repaid with a humiliating punishment for saying false things about God and being arrogant about his signs. There is debate on whether I am blaming Abdullah ibn Sa'd ibn Abi Sarh for his claim that he used to suggest me during revelation of the book, or whether it was a general statement against the people who claim to have received revelations from God. Whatever be the case, bottom line is that other than me, none have received any revelation of universal God. I am the only messenger of universal God after Jesus. Verse 94. And now you have returned to us, alone as we created you at first, leaving behind all that we gave you. Nor do we see with you your intercessors, those you claimed were your partners with God. The link between you is cut, and that which you presumed has failed you. Now something spiritual. Human body is created out of natural elements of this nature. As per some scriptures there are 5 elements. But soul is something which is free of nature. It enters this body when body is created in womb of mother, and it leaves body when it is dead. It does not carry any worldly thing with it like wealth, relatives, etc., except its own deeds. I am not going deep into it. But you may refer to work done by ancient Indians on the subject. They have explained in detail the universal life cycle of soul and its journey. Buddha had specifically inspired people to know our true nature, although he did not believe in the concept of permanent soul. The whole process itself is a science which is out of my scope of work. I am interested in social well-being, not in uplifting the spiritual understanding level of the people. Verse 95. It is God who splits the seed and the fruit stone. He brings forth the living from the dead, and the dead from the living. That is God. How then can you, deluded, turn away from the truth? Verse 96. He causes the break of day, and has made the night for rest, and he made the sun and the moon to a precise measure. That is the measure determined by the Almighty and the All-Knowing. Verse 97. It is he who has set up for you the stars so that you might be guided by them in the midst of the darkness of land and sea. We have made the signs clear for people who want to understand. Verse 98. It is he who first produced you from a single soul, then gave you a place to stay in life, and a resting place after death. We have made our revelations clear to those who are men of understanding. Verse 99. It is he who sends down water from the sky. With it we produce vegetation of all kinds, out of green foliage we produce clustered grain, and from the date palm, out of its sheath, we produce bunches of dates hanging low. We produce vineyards, and olive groves and pomegranates, alike yet different. Look at their fruit as he causes it to grow and ripen. In this are signs for people who believe. I described powers of universal God here. Verse 100. They have set up jinns as associates with God, even though He created them. They have even dared, in their ignorance, to attribute sons and daughters to Him. Hallowed be He and exalted far above what they ascribe to Him. Verse 101. The originator of the heavens and the earth. How could He have a son when He has no consort? He created everything and is aware of everything. Verse 102. This is God, your Lord. There is no God but Him, the Creator of all things. So worship Him. He is the guardian of all things. Verse 103. No vision can grasp Him, but He takes an overall vision. He is the subtle and aware one. Verse 104. Clear insights have come to you from your Lord. Whoever, therefore, chooses to see, does so for his own good, and whoever chooses to remain blind, does so to his own loss. Say, I am not here as your keeper. Jinn is one of magnificent creations of universal God. Man is stated to have been created from clay, while jinns are from fire. The root meaning of jana, inu janu, is to be covered or hidden. Some people say that jinn therefore means the hidden qualities or capacities in man. In the stories of Arabian Nights, there is mention of jinns. So jinns were very common characters in that part of the world. As far as this book is concerned, it is simply a spirit with some different qualities. Verse 105. This is how we explain our revelations in various ways so that they might come to the point of saying, you have read this out to us, and that we might make it clear that this is the truth to those who are eager to know. There are two meanings of the statement. One is that when I deliver the revelation, knowledgeable people may say that I had copied this from other sources, and it has not come from God. In that case, we can clear their minds with more explanations. Second meaning of the statement is that we have explained revelations in such a way that even knowledgeable persons appreciate me. Verse 106. Follow what has been revealed to you from your Lord, there is no deity but Him, and ignore the polytheists. Verse 107. If God had willed, they would not have associated anything with Him. We did not appoint you over them as their keeper, nor are you their guardian. Verse 108. But do not revile those beings whom they invoke instead of God, lest they, in their hostility, revile God, and out of ignorance. Thus to every people we have caused their actions to seem fair. To their Lord they shall all return, and He will declare to them all that they have done. I condemn idol worshippers. Verse 109. They swear a solemn oath by God, that if there should come to them a sign, they will believe in it. Say, signs are granted only by God. How can you tell that if a sign be given to them, they will indeed believe in it? Verse 110. We will turn away their hearts and eyes from the truth, since they refused to believe in it in the first instance. We will let them wander blindly in their insolence. Verse 111. Even if we sent down angels to them, and caused the dead to speak to them, and we gathered together everything in front of them, they would still not believe, unless God had so willed. But most of them behave ignorantly. In the past, people have not believed prophets, unless they exhibited some miracles. But even after that, people rejected them, when things did not turn as per their wishes. This has happened with Moses and Jesus also. Although I was not able to demonstrate any magic, it was not my inability. It was up to universal God, who has chosen me for the job. But you may argue that Moses and Jesus had shown their supernatural powers at least sometimes during their lifetime. Then how is it possible that I did not come across a single instance wherein I had to demonstrate my special powers as a messenger of universal God? Simple, I did not possess any such supernatural powers. Even to do simple magic, a person had to put in lots of efforts in practicing it. Nothing is free in this world. Even Moses and Jesus had acquired those supernatural powers only after they reached some higher level of spirituality. I was not interested in spirituality. My only goal was to establish universal religion and social well-being. I believe that both these goals can be achieved without spirituality also. You may argue that in that case, why am I consistently talking of universal God if I don't need spirituality? Let me clarify that spirituality has least relation with the so-called God. Spirituality is journey toward self-awareness. Belief in God may be the first step towards it, but it is more related to identifying our relation with this universe and beyond. Many spiritual leaders believe that we are part of the gross underlying force which is driving the whole universe. That gross force holds infinite potential within it. This basic difference makes people expect demonstration of supernatural powers when they relate someone to God. Verse 112. In like manner we have assigned for every prophet an opponent, Satan's, from among men in Jinn, who make evil suggestions to each other by means of specious words in order to deceive. Had it been your Lord's will, they would not have done so, so leave them alone to their fabrication. Verse 113. In order that the hearts of those who do not believe in the life to come might incline towards those suggestions, and, being pleased, persist in their sinful ways. Verse 114. Should I seek a judge other than God, when it is He who has revealed the book, clearly explained? Those to whom we gave the book earlier know that it is the truth revealed by your Lord. Therefore, have no doubts. Verse 115. The word of your Lord is perfected in truth and justice. None can change His words. He is the all-hearing, the all-knowing. It is not that everyone believed me. There were some people in Jinn who never had faith in me under the influence of Satan. They will keep on working against me to defeat my goal. Anyway, I am not responsible for every person of this world. I don't need each and every person of this world to support me to achieve my goal. If majority of them agree, it would be enough to bring social revolution in every corner of the world. Verse 116. If you obey the majority of those on earth, they will lead you astray from God's way. They follow nothing but conjecture. They are only guessing. Verse 117. Your Lord knows best who has strayed from His way, and He knows best those who are guided. Although in general majority wins, they need not be always right. Most of the cultures known to me during my age were unable to deliver social justice. Still, tradition continued because some of the powerful decision-makers in these societies wanted it to be continued to maintain their personal interests. Verse 118. Eat then only that over which God's name has been pronounced, if you truly believe in His revelations. Verse 119. Why should you not eat what has been consecrated in God's name, when He has already explained to you what He has forbidden you, unless you are compelled by necessity? Surely, many mislead others by their desires through lack of knowledge. But your Lord best knows the transgressors. Verse 120. As to all sin, open or secret, those who commit sin will receive due punishment for their sins. Verse 121. And do not eat anything over which God's name has not been pronounced, for that surely is disobedience. The devils inspired their followers to argue with you. If you obey them, you will become of those who associate partners with God. In many cultures there is the common practice of pronouncing the name of God before eating food. Also, people used to follow the practice of offering a small part of food or sacrifice to God before eating it. I condemn such practices unless it is pronounced in the name of universal God. Also, I suggest you not to eat forbidden food which has been explained to you earlier. Verse 122. Can he who was dead, to whom we gave life and a light, whereby he could walk among people, be like him, who is in utter darkness from which he can never emerge? Thus the deeds of those who deny the truth have been made fair seeming to them. There are both types of people in the world. One who believe in God, they fear God, and follow the right path, as guided by messenger of God. Then there are other people who do not believe in God, and follow their own path. They are people of evil. But their behavior seems fair to others. You may argue that you really need to believe God to be a good person. There are people who don't believe in God, still they have done great work for the humanity, just because their hearts have melted when they have realized the depth of the problems faced by their fellow humans. Buddha is one of them. You may be right in your argument. But please understand that by nature human is also selfish like any other animal. So kindness of the heart is a very rare quality to find in general. The other way to control animal behavior in humans is by having strong deterrent. God was considered to be the best deterrent, since we believe that this universe is governed by Him. The concept of deterrent of God is still valid even after thousands of years of the human race, because we are yet to find any other alternative to it. Verse 123. Thus we have placed leaders of the wicked in every town to plot therein. Yet it is only against themselves that they scheme, though they may not perceive it. Verse 124. When a sign comes to them, they say, we will not believe in it until we are given what God's messengers have been given. But God knows best whom to appoint as his messenger. Humiliation before God and severe torment will befall the evildoers for their scheming. Whenever someone has claimed of godhood, people ask for proof of the same. Some of them expect to get sight of God, which the godly person claims. Moses has faced that situation, and he has fulfilled people's wish. Buddha also faced questions on his claim of enlightenment, and he has suggested people to sit for meditation with him to get the proof of his claims. But I discourage any such demands, because I can't fulfill them. Verse 125. When God desires to guide someone, he opens his breast to Islam, and whoever he wills to let go astray, he causes his breast to be constricted, as if he had to climb up to the skies. That is how God heaps ignominy upon those who refuse to believe. Verse 126. This is the straight path leading to your Lord. We have made the signs clear for thinking men. Verse 127. They shall dwell in the home of peace with their Lord. He will be their protector, as a recompense for what they have been doing. Verse 128. On the day when he gathers them all together, he will say, Company of jinn, you took away many followers among mankind. And their adherents among mankind will say, Our Lord, we benefited from one another, but now we have reached the end of the term which you determined for us. He will say, The fire shall be your home, and there you shall remain forever, except as God wills. Surely your Lord is wise and all-knowing. Verse 129. And in like manner we shall keep the wrongdoers close to others, as a punishment for their misdeeds. Verse 130. Company of jinn and mankind. Did messengers not come from among you to recite my revelations to you, and warn you of the meeting of this day? They will say, We bear witness against ourselves. It was the life of this world that deceived them, and so they will bear witness against themselves, that they rejected the truth. Verse 131. Your Lord would not destroy a community for its wrongdoing, so long as its people were still unaware. Verse 132. For all are degrees of rank according to their deeds, your Lord is not unaware of anything they do. Verse 133. Your Lord is the self-sufficient one, the merciful. If he wills, he can take you away, and replace you by anyone he pleases, just as he raised you from the offspring of other people. Verse 134. That which you are promised shall surely come to pass, and you cannot prevent it. Verse 135. Say, O my people, go on acting in your way. Indeed, I am going to act in my way. Soon you will know whose end will be best in the hereafter. Surely, the wrongdoers shall not prosper. I assure punishment for non-believers and reward for believers in universal God, universal religion and messengers. Verse 136. They set aside for God a share in what he has produced, such as crops and livestock, and they say, This is for God, so they claim, and this is for our associate gods. Their associate gods' share does not reach God, whereas God's share reaches their associate gods. How will they judge? Arab pagans had a vague idea of supreme God, but their main belief was on their domestic gods. Hence they used to divide their offering into two parts, one part for each. While they were apportioning God's share, if anything belonging to his share fell out of its place, it used to be added to the portion earmarked for the share of the domestic god. On the contrary, if any part of the domestic god's share fell out or got mixed up with the portion earmarked for God, they were most careful to return it to where it belonged. Verse 137. And in like manner, their associate gods have made killing their children seem fair to many pagans, so that they may ruin them, and cause confusion in their religion. Had God pleased, they would not have done so, so leave them to their false inventions. Arabs had the practice of placing children as sacrificial offerings on the altars of the deities in order to gratify them. I strongly condemn such superstition. Killing a human child is not acceptable for any reason. Verse 138. They also say, "These animals and these crops are forbidden. None may eat them except those we permit." So they claim. There are some animals they exempt from labor, and some over which they do not pronounce God's name, thus committing a sin against Him. He will requite them for the falsehoods they invent. Priests played a major role in all the societies. In Arabia also there were priests who would exploit poor people in the name of God by forcing them to dedicate certain crops or animals to God. Once dedicated to God, although the custody of the crop or animal remains with person, he practically can't use them. I condemn such practices since it promotes utter wastage of valuable resources and puts unnecessary extra burden on common people. Verse 139. They say, "What is in the wombs of such and such cattle is exclusively for our males, and is forbidden to our females. But if it is stillborn, they may have a share of it." God will soon punish them for their false attribution. He is wise and all-knowing. One more tradition followed by Arabs is that the flesh of the young born to such dedicated animals cannot be consumed by their female members. It is only meant for male members of the family. If that newborn is dead by any means, then only females are also eligible to consume its flesh. It's foolish. Verse 140. Losers indeed are they who kill their children foolishly and without knowledge, and declare as forbidden what God has provided for them as sustenance, a fabrication against God. They have gone astray and have not chosen to be rightly guided. Verse 141. It is He who has produced gardens, both trellised and untrellised, and date palms and field crops, all varying in taste, and the olive and the pomegranate, both similar and dissimilar. Eat their fruits when they bear fruit, and give away what is due of them on the day of their harvest. Do not waste anything. He does not love the wasteful. Verse 142. Of the cattle there are some for carrying burdens, and some for food. Eat what God has provided for you, and do not follow in Satan's footsteps, for he is a declared enemy of yours. I condemn all these superstitions, like killing children, forbidding crop and animals, etc. Verse 143. God has created 4 kinds of livestock of either sex, 2 of sheep and 2 of goats. Ask them, is it the 2 males He has forbidden, or the 2 females, or what the wombs of the 2 females contain? Tell me on the basis of knowledge, if you are truthful. Verse 144. Again, of the camels there are 2, and of the oxen 2. Ask them, is it the 2 males He has forbidden, or the 2 females, or what the wombs of the 2 females contain? Were you present when God enjoined this on you? Who is more unjust than one who, without knowledge, fabricates a lie against God, so that he may lead people astray without knowledge? Surely, God does not guide the wrongdoers. There were foolish traditions like eating of male offspring of an animal should be considered lawful, while eating the female be prohibited, or vice versa, and that an animal should itself be considered lawful, but not its offspring, and so on. Verse 145. Say, O prophet, in all that has been revealed to me, I do not find a ban on anything to eat, except for carrion, flowing blood and pork, all these being unclean or profane, on which the name of someone other than God has been invoked. But if anyone is forced by necessity, being neither disobedient nor exceeding the limit, then surely your Lord is most forgiving and merciful. 4 types of food are forbidden for believers: dead and decaying flesh of an animal, blood, flesh of swine and animal slaughtered in the name of other gods. Verse 146. We forbade the Jews all animals with claws, and the fat of sheep and goats and oxen, except what is on their backs, and in their intestines, and what adheres to their bones. That is the penalty we imposed on them for their disobedience. And we assuredly are true to our word. Jews were forbidden more foods as a punishment for their attitude towards prophets. Hence I suggest them to accept universal religion, and be free of those restrictions. Change religion to have better food. Verse 147. So, if they accuse you of lying, say, the mercy of your Lord is all-encompassing. His punishment cannot be averted from sinful men. Verse 148. Those who associate partners with God will surely say, had God pleased, neither we nor our fathers would have served other gods besides Him, nor would we have made anything unlawful. Likewise those who lived before them argued falsely until they came to taste our punishment. Say, have you any knowledge? If so, produce it before us. You follow nothing but conjecture. You are merely guessing. Verse 149. Say, God alone has the conclusive proof. If he had willed, he could have guided every one of you. Verse 150. Say, come, bring your witnesses, who can testify that God forbade all this. If they bear witness falsely, do not bear witness with them, nor yield to the wishes of those who deny our signs, nor of those who do not believe in the life to come and set up others as equals with their Lord. I suggest you to stay away from superstitious and idol-worshipping Arab pagans who do not have any ground for their beliefs. Verse 151. Say, come. I will tell you what your Lord has really forbidden you. Do not associate anything with him, be good to your parents, and do not kill your children for fear of poverty. We shall provide sustenance for you as well as for them. Refrain from committing indecent deeds, whether openly or in secret, and do not kill the life which God has made sacred, save by right. That is what he has enjoined upon you, so that you may understand. Verse 152. Stay well away from an orphan's property, except with the best intentions, before he comes of age. Give full measure and weight, according to justice. We never charge a soul with more than it can bear. When you speak, observe justice, even though it concerns a close relative, and fulfill the covenants of God. That is what he has enjoined upon you, so that you may take heed. Verse 153. He has enjoined, this is my straight path. So follow it, and do not follow other ways that will lead you away from his path. That is what he enjoins upon you, so that you may guard yourselves. These are guidelines for just social and personal behavior. Verse 154. Then we gave Moses the book, completing our favor to the righteous, explaining everything clearly, as guidance and mercy, so that they might believe in meeting their Lord. Verse 155. This is a book which we have revealed as a blessing. Follow it, and fear your Lord, so that you may receive mercy. Verse 156. And not say, the book was only sent down to the two groups before us, and we were indeed unaware of their teachings. Verse 157. Or you may say, if the book had been sent down to us, we would surely have followed its guidance better than they did. There has now come to you clear evidence from your Lord, and guidance and mercy. Who, then, is more unjust than one who rejects the signs of God, and turns away from them? We shall requite those who turn away from our signs with a painful punishment for their turning away. Verse 158. Are they waiting for the angels or your Lord to come down to them, or for some of your Lord's signs to come? The day when some of the signs of your Lord shall come, it shall not profit any human being who did not believe before, or who did not do any good by his faith. Say to them, wait then, we too are waiting. Earlier two books, Torah and Gospel, have been addressed towards certain community. But I had delivered the book in the local Arabic language. So there was no excuse left for Arab pagans for not following my guidance. Verse 159. Have nothing to do with those who have split up their religion into sects. Their case rests with God. He will tell them about what they used to do. I recommend my followers to stay away from those who divide religion into further sections in the name of caste, tribe, race, etc. But I feel very bad that even after my tremendous efforts to unite the people, my own religion has seen a split later on. I am very much disappointed that although I had blamed others for their division, my preachings and deterrents were unable to stop division in my own religion. Verse 160. Whoever does a good deed will be repaid tenfold, but those who do a bad deed will only be repaid with its equivalent, and they shall not be wronged. Verse 161. Say, my Lord has guided me to a straight path, and to an upright religion, the religion of Abraham the upright, who was not of those who associate partners with God. Verse 162. Say, my prayer and my sacrifice, and my life, and my death are all for God, the Lord of the worlds. Verse 163. He has no partner. So am I commanded, and I am the first of those who submit. Verse 164. Say, shall I seek a Lord other than God, while He is the Lord of all things? Everyone must bear the consequence of what he does, and no bearer of a burden can bear the burden of another. Then to your Lord you will return, and He will inform you of what you used to dispute about. Verse 165. It is He who has made you successors of others on the earth, and has exalted some of you over the others in degrees of rank, so that He may test you by that which He has given you. Your Lord is swift in punishment, yet surely He is forgiving and merciful. I assure punishment for idol worshippers and non-believers and reward for believers in universal God. End of chapter 6.